Welcome to Great Day, Houston. Thank you very much. It is Medical Monday, and something we talk about today might be something you need to get taken care of. But first, we'll take on some health news making headlines. It's time for Hot Topics. All right, please welcome on our panel this morning Dr. Colby Stewart, who's an ophthalmologist and LASIK surgeon, as well as Dr. Stephen Hotze, who's a hormone specialist and all kinds of other things, right? Wellness in general. Okay, so one of these hot topics, and this is the way it kind of goes, as you know, in all these medical studies, there are some things that make total sense, and there are other things where you're going, why would someone study this? Okay, well, someone studied this. They said that ice cream for breakfast. Yeah, so far so good, right? We're in for that one. It was a study by a professor who said that it improved the alertness and mental performance of like kids in school. When kids had ice cream for breakfast, they did better than their counterparts.
I'm wondering if it's coffee ice cream. I mean, I can't.
You're right.
You know, when you find out with kids that anything sweet, anything that makes them that they're excited about, they're going to be more alert. And I think that may come to play. But I think in the study showed that later they served them cold water and they still were a little bit more alert than the other.
Yeah. So they're trying to figure out what the component is. Is it something just cold?
Well, you know, in the sweetener in most ice creams is corn syrup. Mm-hmm. And so you can imagine if you fed kids, which leads to diabetes, is very strongly related because it's much more powerful than just regular sugar. And it correlates with an increased risk of getting diabetes. So I think if you fed your kids ice cream every morning, you put them at a risk, and I don't think that's the wise thing to do. Now, I don't know about anybody in our audience. Y'all like ice cream?
Yeah. Would you like to have it for breakfast every morning? Yeah. You know, when it comes down to that thing, they're still trying to isolate exactly what it was, right? And sometimes we kind of take the whole package when it's really a small part of the package. I remember when they came out and they said that, guess what, folks? Pizza is good for you, right? So people are like, yay, right? But then you ask the next question, and why are you saying pizza is good for you? And they said, well, because tomatoes have lycopene in them, and that's good for you.
Why don't we just eat tomato? You know, the interesting thing about I was thinking about it. It could be the healthy oils and the healthy fats that are in the ice cream. You know, we recommended our center fish oil for good healthy oils, and animal fats have good healthy omega-3s, and it may be that's the reason they do well. I don't know.
All right, to be continued here. All right, during the holiday season, some of you like to have a little wine or two, right? A little vodka, a little something. Okay, right, all right. Well, you know, of course, have you ever had just maybe one or two or three or four too many? And you wake up with that so-called headache. How many of you has that happened to you? Because I don't know what that's like. Okay. Well, the causes, of course, are like the tannins and things like that. And some people can't metabolize it, and that's the reason why some people are affected differently. Some people get very drunk quickly. Some people don't ever get that drunk.
Yeah, and you were talking about the little things and things that are actually good for you. You know, the study that was shown about red wine, about being a glass of red wine is good for the heart, and et cetera. But, you know, 8 glasses of red wine, not so good, not so good for the head.
Moderation
but
thing there.
Thinking about it, it says that if you drink too much wine, you may not feel well the next day. Well, it may be the alcohol.
Oh, no, Dr. Hotze, it says it could be the histamine,
couldn't be the alcohol that's causing the problem, right? And what happens, alcohol gets converted to aldehydes, and you've heard the term formaldehyde. Aldehydes have an adverse effect on brain function, and so that's the reason that people don't do well when they drink too much alcohol. So if you're drinking too much alcohol, stop it.
Yeah, right, and there you go, take care. But they say if you think you might have a little more than you should, they said a prevention is to take a non-drowsy antihistamine prior to drinking the wine. Now, my concern is you start mixing things together, right?
Well, of course, all drugs are toxins. And so they have to be detoxified by the liver. The best thing to do is to make sure you're on a good vitamin regimen that allows your liver to be able to detoxify the alcohol and the other chemicals you get in your body.
I was talking to the medical examiner several years ago, and she said, you'd be surprised how many people come in, and you don't want to go into her office, the medical examiner's office, right? How many people come in who die from liver failure because they took acetaminophen to take care of a headache or drinking too much. And the alcohol and acetaminophen together is very harsh on the liver.
I think Dr. Hotze is absolutely right. I mean, it's not just wine; it's anything with alcohol at the end of it. You know,
yeah.
Anything with alcohol in it, and it's kind of disguised in different flavors, vodka, and wine, and whatever, tequila. But the really ingredients that get you and makes you feel bad is the alcohol.
Alcohol.
Yeah. All right. So we solved that problem for you. Yeah. How many of you growing up watching television, your parents or grandparents said, "Don't sit too close to the TV because you're right. You're going to lose your eyesight, whatever." Of course, today it's not that. Today we're saying, limit your screen time on your device that's in your hand. The American Academy of Pediatrics was talking about screen time and social media and cyberbullying, all these things outside of just the eyesight issue about just exposing kids to so much. It's almost like leaving your front door wide open because strangers come in through those hand devices.
Well, I mean, I think that what they advised was less than 2 hours of digital time or screen time, which is good luck with that. I don't know if anybody that has. I mean, I have kids, and I mean, it's constant. It's this constant battle. If I could just decrease them for at least 2 hours would be a good thing. But I don't know how much of this is realistic. I mean, times are changing. I mean, when I was young, we didn't have cell phones.
So the TV was evil if we sat too close to it, right?
Yeah.
And well, okay, I'm a little crazy, but
in some way, it affects. It stimulates the brain and can overstimulate the brain in some way, and it affects. We have a series of brain waves. I'm not an expert in that, but I know it does have an effect on the brain waves and the way people think, and so it may put them in the wrong brain wave, so they don't really function well.
Yeah.
And also, the kids get on that stuff; they don't interact.
Right.
And that's
the biggest thing, not knowing how to interact with
people. How many
people.
times you got your grandkids? Girls, come on, put down. What are you doing?
Watch people at restaurants.
I'm playing a game right here. Why don't you sit here and talk?
I saw a great date the other night. It looked like it was like a first-time date, and they're both just doing this right here. I'm like, and I finally walked up and said, "Are you at least talking to each other? Are you texting each other at the table?"
I know. My wife Janie goes, "Honey, would you please don't bring your phone into the restaurant?" Because I'm going, "Well, I'm texting somebody."
Yeah. So speaking of screen time, a lot of people do talk about that with the eyes and how it can impact the eyes. Computer screens, whole bit. Does it really cause a physical strain?
Some of it was wives' tales about sitting too close to the TV, but there is definitely something I think that Dr. Hotze was touching on, is that your brain waves change. I know for me, if I read a book on my iPad or something at night instead of a regular book, I can't sleep as well. I don't fall asleep as well. And I think that definitely has something to do with it.
All right. Junk food. You touched on diabetes earlier. We have more, we used to call it adult onset, and we don't anymore because there are people who aren't adults who have diabetes, type 2 in particular. In England, they are banning companies from addressing kids online with junk food ads. And here in America, they're saying that we don't really do that, but a lot of companies have kind of agreed, a gentleman's agreement, not to do that. But that messaging over and over again has a big impact.
Absolutely. Basically, what the food companies and the drug companies do, drug companies are worse, is they indoctrinate people into thinking that drugs are the solution to problems. And we know nobody's sick because they have low drugs in their body, or foods are the solution to problems. And that's their industry. I don't, America's off foods onto drugs. America and New Zealand are the only two countries in the world that allow drug companies to advertise on TV.
Yeah, I know several friends of mine who are doctors will say a patient will come in and say, "I need blah, blah, blah." He's like, "But you don't have that problem." Well, but no, I saw the commercial and I need so.
Well, interestingly enough, they did a study that 75% of the time when a patient walks into a doctor's office and asks for a drug, the doctor will write that prescription. He's watching the same commercials.
All right, and then of course again the impact on kids' brains when they make. I think maybe they should send ads of "Hey kids, have a fun size of broccoli," the fun size broccoli package, right? But otherwise they have all the little candies with the fun size and all that type of stuff. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
When we come back, we know with multiple births, the concern is whether the mom